I am Tarron with Twist Mesquite Performance Horses. Our mission is to create a world-class 2-year-old program that specializes in the rein cow horse. This week we're doing a review with Quicksilver. This is week 5. This is the first video we've done of him so far since we've had him in our program. He's a 5-year-old quarter horse stud. Before we got him, he's pretty much unhandled. So we've had to halter break him, get into where we can get around him to catch him, halter break him, and then we've just have been gentling him down, starting him through the groundwork. And then with him being a stud, when he came to us, he was kind of not aggressive or anything like that, but he was still pretty up about himself. Like he was still kind of unsure. He didn't really want to get along. But with him, it's largely been just getting him through that fear. He wasn't very steady. He hasn't been too bad in that way. It's just a lot like just any colts, just getting them over that fear. So we're just going to kind of review what we've done with him so far up to this point. Of course, I have him saddled already, so he's saddled pretty quick, relatively pretty quickly, and since then we've just been getting him quieter, getting to where he's more submissive. So we've worked with his feet. I've roped his feet, got him leading and giving around his feet. We've done a lot of desensitizing with him with a rope and a stick and string with a flag, and just a lot of repetition to where when I ask him to move, he moves, and when I give him an opportunity to stand still, sit right here and relax and be quiet, he's getting to where he takes it and he lets down really well, and he's getting a lot more submissive. You know, right now you can tell he's a little worried about what we're doing, but he's pretty let down and has a pretty good soft eye about him. So we've taught him to lunge. I want him to just ease around this circle, getting where he's soft. He's not trying to run off. He's not trying to leave. He's kind of, he has his head tilted in towards me, getting just soft on that halter, soft on that lead rope. Where he'll disengage that hip when I ask and then go back the other way. He'll still kind of get a little worried in these circles a little bit, where he does kind of think about leaving, but so we just stay in here. With these studs, I'm wanting them to do this groundwork a lot more correct, to make sure we have all our bases covered, where we're not missing any holes. Where some of these younger horses, or maybe these different horses that are coming 2-year-olds, we might ease through that groundwork and just make sure they kind of have the idea, but their minds are pliable enough to where they can take that information and go on with it, and they seem to get enough of it to where you don't have to drill it really hard, and you can kind of just build on it as you go. With these ones, I've noticed they're a little more set in their ways, a little more fearful, And so we're wanting to go with this, make sure that they know this groundwork, and they're pretty consistent with it, and that they, you see he still wants to overreact a little bit when I step in front and turn him the other way, so we'll just keep working on that. But it's not bad. Like, he's working through it. He's wanting to think through the situation. He's wanting to get along now. And so we just keep working him and building on every day. You know, we make a plan first of the week to kind of see and make a plan for these horses, and we go and work on that plan through the week, and then at the end of the week we kind of see where it is we need to adjust, what do we need to do to continue improving the week following. I think with him, really, we're just kind of working through getting that overreactiveness out of him. He'll overreact and kind of just forget what we're doing. And he's so big and strong that he'll, you know, if I didn't have his attention, or if I didn't, you know, he just decided to run off, not a whole lot I can do about it. And so we want to make sure that we give him a chance to work through that reactiveness and teach them, no, it's okay to get quiet and think through what we're doing and not just react. So he did really good there. And with him overreacting, kind of having that overreactive tendencies, I want to get in there and do the exercise, let him kind of relax in that exercise a little bit, and then stop him and let him rest and let him think about it, so that he doesn't continue just getting hot and anxious. Some horses, the more you let them sit in there in the job, they'll kind of relax and wind down. And some of them, they may just get hotter and hotter, just get more worried about it and just keep on being reactive. So you just kind of have to feel each horse out. So we worked on that, and we worked on just making some noise and slapping that ground around him. And I want him to just think about it and just let him know that it's okay to sit there and relax. And all this stuff also reinforces my body language. So when I'm asking them to move, I have an active body language. You know, my energy's high. And when I'm letting them, you know, I want them to just sit here and relax and do whatever, you know, take whatever we're working on. I have a real relaxed body language. And we've worked on making sure that he's good with this rope touching him all over, behind his legs and over his hip, and just flying at him, coming towards him. you know, how he is standing here right now, this is how I want him to be when I go to get on him and when I go to ride him for that first time. I want him to be in a relaxed state, thinking about what's going on. And so getting him into this frame of mind is our goal, to where he stays in this frame of mind all the time, no matter what we're doing with him. So when a big horse like this goes and overreacts and you don't have any control over the situation, it's a lot higher likelihood that you're going to go and get hurt. So another thing we've worked with him on is just getting soft, just flexing on either side. Where we can get around him and have him bend his head and lower his head and be soft around us. Not have to be tense and worried. We worked on disengaging his hips to where we can get him to cross that leg over the outside and give us that hip, where he's not just thinking about backing up and running off or running forward, or we can just get more control over his hip. It's one of the first things that I do when I get on him is disengage that hip. And so this is just the start of that, where I can do it on the ground, and then I can teach him how to do it on the ground, where my foot is going to be, so that when I get on him, it's an easier thing to teach him. We're not doing anything that is new and worrisome. We've worked on backing up. We have 4 different methods on the ground that we'll do with them. And that's just backing up when you're riding them is important for when they're stopping, or you got to go work a cow. Just being able to get that horse to back up is important. Another method we will do, we'll just swing this rope around, swing this stick around. Want them to stay out of that space and respect our space. I think it seems like they get pretty respectful, and they get a lot softer when they'll back up relaxed. I like a horse that'll back up soft. Some of our older ones that we've been riding for a while, when they get to where they'll back up really soft in your hands, and there's no resistance in them, and it sure is a great feeling. Another thing we've worked on is getting them to back up off a steady pressure, but just where I pick up on that halter and want them to back up a few steps. Just pick up light and he'll back up. So when we get on his back, we'll be able to teach him how to back up a lot easier, since he already knows how to do it on the ground. When he has a saddle, once we get to where we can get him saddled, I want to continue to make noise on that saddle, grab that back cinch, flap the stirrups. Want to pat him back here on his hip. When I go to get on him, my foot may just graze him back here, and I want him to be comfortable with it, not worry about it, not jump. Just do all this stuff on this offside where he's not worried about somebody getting a hold of him or anything like that. I want to do it on both sides where he's comfortable. All this stuff takes, it does take time. It takes time, but you know what we're doing is putting a foundation on these horses that is solid, and that anybody that takes this horse on after us is able to continue on. And these horses, when they leave our program, they're starting to get really good control over all the major body parts. And they're soft, they're relaxed, they're good with their feet. They're in a frame of mind where they're easy to be around. They have groundwork on them to where you can keep them in that good frame of mind. I want to move the saddle around, like when I'm going to go get on him. I want to jump around, kind of have him hold my weight, and we'll just continue to do this over and over and over again, to where he's relaxed, he's not worried about it. And it's one less thing that, you know, on the ground we try to get all this stuff done on him to where they're not worried about any part of that first ride. And it seems like we've had good success with that. Once we'll get a first ride on them, and we build their confidence, and we put another ride on them and keep building their confidence. You know, we don't get into any big wrecks. So I have control of them. They're in a good frame of mind, and I'm able to keep them in that good frame of mind so that they're content with what's going on, and they're in a good state of mind to continue learning. We'll add another thing that we haven't worked on them with yet. Which is just getting this blanket over him, all around him. I want to keep his head tilted towards me. Just kind of approach his shoulder. Let him sit here, relax when we'll take it away. I don't want to just push it over top of him, so he may go to jump and run off or get overly worried about it when we don't have to. We can just take it in here. He knows, hey, this is just like the other things we've been working on. So I'm not asking him to move, and so he's just taking it all in. But I want to do things that might cause a reaction. So I want to work on that while I'm here on the ground, instead of finding something when I get on him that we didn't cover. Well, and now he's really worried about it, or now I'm in a bad spot and he's overreacting or running off or anything like that, and I'm sitting there in the middle of him in a bad spot. Like I said, we haven't worked on putting this blanket all over him. He's doing really well. I want to just get it up underneath him, get it up around him, around his back legs. So he's doing good there, didn't just run off and kick. Get it up underneath him on this side, around his back legs, his front legs. Just kind of throw it at him. And I want to quit and let him relax there. Last exercise we'll work on, which I need to do today with him, is just working on these head shy exercises to where I just want to get around him, get around his head, where he's relaxed, he's not worried about anything flying around his head. I just come up and rub his head and rub my hands over his eyes. For some reason, it seems like if you go and rub their jaw right here when I'm doing this, it seems like they really relax. It's pretty interesting, but You just rub their eyes, their head. I want to swing my hand around them, let them know that I'm not going to hurt him. He is a little worried about it, but brought his head up a little bit. That's all right. Just rub him. I like that he's keeping his head right there in the middle. He's not trying to run off from me or take it away from me. Be able to rub his ears. Kind of rub his muzzle. So you know we're going to have to put a snaffle in his mouth at some point here coming up. Just getting to where we can get all the way around him. Let's go up here and rub around his ears and his nose. Over his head here. He's a little annoyed about it, but that's all right. He didn't change his behavior or run off from it or anything, so just rub him from here. And that'll do it for today. I'll finish up here. I like to flex them when I get done with them, once I get them to this point, where it's just adding just more softness in there. Just make it a routine. We'll unsaddle them and then rinse them off and let them stand tied while we work the others. That's kind of been a pretty routine thing we're doing with them, and it's really helped with these studs. It'll help with any impatient horses, so we like to do that with them. So anyway, that's been our review of Quicksilver this week, and we'll see you in the next